Everybody's talking at the comic spot. The comic spot. The comic spot. Everybody's talking at the comic spot. The comic spot.
We are. Yeah. You get to see the inner workings of where Kevin Davis, the Marine of comedy, lives.
I get to school with Moreno Valley right now.
Moreno Valley.
They're quarantined like everybody else all across the country. So
It's-
trying to make the best of it. So I'm on here with Linda.
Yes, hi.
How you doing?
Doing great. Like I told everybody on this post, I met you my first month in comedy over at Rocky Osbormm's at Aces in Murrieta.
Yes.
And that's where I started getting the passion to do comedy for the military. And you and I were talking about that, and your career took right off.
I
Just,
don't know about that, but I mean, it's been 5 years, so I don't know about take right off. It was a slow, gradual climb. I'm not where I want to be, but it's going along. I got to say, it's been a good ride.
yes, yes. So, you know, you're a Marine, and I don't know where you come from, what state you're from, what your background was before you went into the Marines, let alone comedy. So let's start at the beginning.
All right, I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is the capital of Pennsylvania, not Philadelphia. Let me get that out the way.
Little louder, little louder.
I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, not Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a city in Pennsylvania. Harrisburg is the capital, all right? Yeah, so let me get that out of the way. Too many people think Philly is the state. It's not. Okay, look at your geography. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I didn't originally plan on going into the Marine Corps. My first goal, actually, I wanted to be an actor. To be truthful, I went to school for performing arts, and a lot of people don't know this about me, but I got my varsity letter in tennis.
What?
Yes, I was the only black guy ever in the history of my school to get a varsity letter in tennis. Yes.
Awesome.
And then they disbanded tennis, so I will always be the only black guy ever to play tennis at Harrisburg High School.
Wow.
So, so being in theater and all that, and I only got into theater because I used to cut up in class so bad that my teacher thought the way they could channel my energy was to put me in acting. And so I went into acting, and I actually was thinking about going to college to be an actor. And I got kind of caught up in the street. I was from South Harrisburg, which was a really kind of rough area, you know what I mean? And there's only one thing that stopped me from probably becoming a criminal, or, was one thing: jail. It don't stop me from going to becoming a criminal, you know what I mean? And I went to jail one time, and it was the hardest, roughest, longest, scariest 4 hours of my life. I didn't really go into cell. I just was in holding, and it scared me. And a week later, I actually joined the Marines right after that. So, plus, I only weighed 97 pounds at that time, so it ain't much of a criminal. I think Michael Jackson and Beat It was more criminal than I was. Because 97, 5'6". I was 5'6", 97 pounds.
Wow. Yeah, you don't want to go to jail when you have those stats.
Nah. So yeah, my direction changed immediately. So I went in the Marine Corps, and I was underweight in the Marines to get in. I was actually 18 pounds underweight to get in the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
I was supposed to weigh 118, and I only weighed 98. So I had to start eating, and they would allow me to get up. If I got to 108, I could join. So I had to get up to 108 pounds. So I ate a lot for a couple months, and I got up to 108, and it was really rough, let me be honest. Getting in the Marine Corps at that weight and that size was very hard, let me say. Actually, my first haircut in boot camp, the barber actually put me on the booster seat. I got done, he patted me on my head and gave me a lollipop. It was a crazy time. The drill instructors, you know how they always say, drop down and give me 50. They never said that to me. They tell another person, drop down and give me 50. They look at me and say, drop down and eat a sandwich. And It worked out though. I went in there and it changed me. I graduated boot camp at 138 pounds, and a year later I weighed 183.
What?
Yes, I gained almost 85 pounds in 1 year.
Wow.
I went from 5'7" to 5'6" to 5'11". I went from 108 to 183.
Jeez. You grew up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
So that worked out though. Then I kind of fit the mold of Marine then. But earlier I was not the poster child. I was the poster child to feed the children. I already had the belly. All I needed was them flies in my eyes. Oatmeal. I laugh about it because it's funny to me because it was my life, you know. So a lot of people don't know that. They see you now, they see you 200 pounds, like, man, you would probably know I was not always this size. I wasn't even close.
Wow.
So that's my route into the Marine Corps was acting, Marine Corps, and now back to acting and comedy.
So
30 years.
you do a lot of acting, not just comedy.
No. I do, yeah, and believe me, I've never been trained to be an actor. I did it in high school. But doing real acting is fun, man. It's really and a friend of mine, a guy named Raheem Mitchell. You know Raheem.
Yes.
Raheem stayed on top of me. He said, Ken, you gotta go into acting. You gotta try. I was like, man, I'm not gonna do that. I want to be a good comedian. You know, I want to be a great comedian. He said, no, man, you gotta do acting. You're natural for it. And then one day I got a call out the blue from friends of mine needed an actor. And I went and did the role, and it was fun. So I signed it up for LA casting, and I probably had, 10, 12, 15 spots. Since then, I did a couple infomercials. I did some commercials, some car commercials. So now I'm just waiting to do that national commercial. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I actually got a couple callbacks coming right now, but because of the coronavirus, it's kind of holding everything up.
Yes. Drew Yerkish is on here and he says that he misses sharing the stage with you. Drew Yerkish.
Oh, Drew is one of the good guys in comedy. He's not just a funny comedian, he's also a good person.
Nice.
And I think anytime we ever perform, we always had a blast. I don't think Drew and I ever had a bad time in comedy, ever.
That's
And,
great.
Really, he's one of the good ones. And I miss that he's out in Cleveland. But I tell you, Drew, this year I'm going to travel a lot more. Next year, I'm done working for the government, and I will be full-time. So I will be back on the East Coast, definitely, brother. So I look forward to seeing you, man.
I know you have a passion to do comedy for the military and the veterans.
Yes.
And so, that's one of my passions since I was in the Army. There's the Marines and then there's the Army. I was in the Army.
And as everybody else.
Trust me, I get it.
It's just the way we kind of look at life. But no, it is a passion, like you, and that's how we got together. I think in life, when you know what your gift is, you have God as your accountant. I think you owe it to the world and to the universe to give something back. And I know I've been blessed with the ability to communicate and make people laugh. So I want to use those abilities to make a difference for veterans. And I know a lot of our veterans have been through a lot. PTSD, I had PTSD myself. A lot of veterans with traumatic brain injuries and things like that, they need money for dogs, they need money to be trained, and they just need support. And they need to get out of their heads. And that's my goal, is to make a difference with the vets. And that's something I am definitely passionate about. And one of the first things I do when I get done working is to do a tour to all the veteran hospitals, do a comedy show and a workshop for veterans.
Yes.
About comedy, get them out of their head, just teach them that you don't have to sit and think about what's going on in your life, but we can laugh for 3 or 4 hours. Maybe you might learn to write a joke. You might want to do stand-up. I don't know. But that's my goal. That's one of the first things I'm going to do when I go full-time comedy.
When's that going to be?
Next June.
Awesome.
I already know the date. I'm telling you, I'm done.
That's so cool.
I was 16 years old, and now I want to work and do what I love, and that's make people laugh and make a difference.
Yeah, I love doing comedy at VA hospitals and places where they're invoke rehab, because they're just, they're like sponges for comedy.
Yes. But you know that PTSD vets and PTSD people respond to the arts. And that's one of the great things I learned as I was working with the Walking Warrior Foundation and Walking Point, and there was a couple of foundations they did, but they had me come up to LA to the Veterans Hospital, and I did like a 15-minute set, and then for 2 hours I taught these guys how to write jokes.
Yes.
It was so great, and I seen, and they forgot what they were going through for those 2 hours, and I seen what it could do. So now it's my goal to set up a tour, and I'm going to bring on veterans like yourself that are comedians who are also veterans. They can relate to these guys and also share their story, and also especially if I got PTSD. Mac Rome is a Navy vet who also suffers from PTSD. Who's a very funny guy. Sam Ridley, guys like that. So I'm going to get those guys out, and we're going to make a difference. We're going to get on the road, and we're going to make it happen.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. I like to, when I'm doing comedy for the veterans, like I've done the veteran stand downs, and they have a list online of all the stand downs in all the major metropolis areas. And there's sometimes 1,000 people there, and you can kick off the show with comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun to do too.
Yes. I mean, anytime you can involve comedy with something, it's a good thing. I mean, sometimes the atmosphere ain't right for it. Let's just be honest. Every place ain't great for comedy. But if it's people are doing like fundraisers, things like that, they're open, they want to laugh. Some other places like biker reunions and stuff, I had sometimes work so well. But that's I only know from experience. But, if you can get comedy involved, that's a great thing.
Yes. Well, when you go on the road, hit me up, because I wouldn't mind being a part of some of that.
Well, absolutely. I think you definitely on my list, man. There's a couple guys and young ladies that I want to join and use for these veteran shows. And we talked about it.
Yeah.
We get through this thing, we can get back on the road, and we're going to get going. And right now, I'm just kind of sitting and writing and going over some old stuff and working on some characters. And I got a bunch of acting stuff that's pending right now. So it's as soon as this comes out, man, I'm coming out the block, so I'm gonna kick the door down. This is the longest I've went without being on stage.
Yes.
I've never not been on stage in 2 weeks, in 5 years.
Wow.
Now we're in the 3 weeks now. You know what I mean? Because we had a show. We were supposed to be in Miami raising money for kids for O.J. McDuffie's Catch 81 Foundation, and that's something else we got working. Me and Jason Rogers are going to be doing fundraisers all over the country, raising money for different nonprofits.
God bless you. That's great.
It's in my soul, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's real. It's not like something I had to come up with. This is what drives me. This is what wakes me up in the morning, knowing I can make somebody laugh and make a difference. So that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. Well, like one time I was in the emergency room a few years ago at the VA in Portland, and I went to go get a cup of coffee, and a guy wheeled himself into the coffee room in a wheelchair, and I noticed he had a hole in his leg. So I figured he needed some jokes. So I said, "Can I tell you my comedy set?" And I did. And he started crying, and he said, the last time I heard any comedian tell a veteran military jokes was when I was in Vietnam, and you don't have any idea what you just did for me. Not only did it remind me of that good time, but it got me out of my head.
What did I just say about getting them out of their head? That is the key word. That's the word you use, is getting them out of their head. That's what the dogs do. So you did that for a vet. And think about it, you touched one. Think about if you could do that for many.
Yeah. I'm dying to do it for 1,000 people at a time, I did that one time for 1,000,
It happen. If you put it in the universe and you believe it, it will happen. Trust me, it will happen. Everything I've done in my life, I've always told myself I could do it, and I've never stopped till I do it. And when I woke up one day and sat on the side of the bed and I stood up and do comedy, I never looked back. I didn't think about it hard. I just said, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. It is the same drive and determination we got to make a difference. And when you can touch those people, you see it in their eyes that you touch them and you get them out of their head, you know, then you know you're doing something.
The beautiful thing about what you're doing, teaching them how to write material, is they can take all the garbage in their life and learn how to skim over the top of it. And then all of a sudden their family might want to hear them talk about their stories again.
Yes.
Because if they're,
That's exactly works. That's exactly what happened. Beautiful.
yeah, it's very healing. Comedy is healing. And I think it can save lives.
Yeah.
So,
It's medicine for the soul. That's what comedy is. And a lot of people, you never know where they're at in life when they come to your show. You don't know if they're 2 minutes away from killing themselves. You don't know if they want to go kill somebody. But a lot of times, you don't even realize the people you're touching and the people you're saving.
that's right.
And that's the beautiful thing, again, about comedy. It changes perspectives. It changes people's outlook on life. You know, when they hear me, you know, Mac Brown gave me the best advice I've ever gotten when I did my PTSD exam. And I said, Mac, what am I supposed to say? I don't know. I've never been through. She said, Kev, just do your set without punchlines. What he said. Do your comedy set without the punchlines. And that is your life. And he's 100% right. Because my jokes are about my life. Raising my son, being a single parent, growing up without a parent, you know, growing out without a father, things like that. All the things I talk about on stage. And the tragedy that you deal with that we turn into comedy. So he said, tell your story without the punchlines. And he was right.
How'd that work? Like,
It worked.
it seems,
It was very interesting because I just told my stories, and that's how they determined that I, in fact, I definitely had PTSD. So
wow. Wow.
self-medicating for years, not even knowing it.
Yeah.
And that was comedy. It evened me out. I was not angry no more. I was not edgy. I was none of those things. I was happy again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One time I got to do comedy for a battered woman's shelter of female veterans suffering with PTSD who had recently been battered. And I went in there with my PTSD shtick. Within 2 minutes, 3 of the 4 women were crying. And like, talk about not knowing how to know your audience. Because I was coming from 1973 PTSD, and this was 2017, and they were in the middle of running away from an abuser. And like, that taught me a lot about knowing your audience.
Well, in 78, when I went in the 80s, we didn't call it PTSD.
No.
We didn't have a title for it. I think if you went to war, we called it the fog of war. But the medical term, I don't know what they call it because I don't remember using the term PTSD very often in my 20 years of brain work.
Like
I got out that I realized what in fact it was, and that's why I never looked into it because I thought I was normal like everybody else. You know?
Yeah. We just came back changed.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I didn't even know I had PTSD till a drunk driver hit me, and then all of a sudden I had all these personality things.
Mm-hmm. And then it takes something like that. And for me, like I said, nobody, especially, wants to say they have mental problems. Let's just be honest.
Let's be honest.
I got mental issues. Nobody wants to say that.
Nope.
So we go through life and we don't want to acknowledge it. So when they ask me at the VA, you got PTSD? I was like, no, I'm fine, you know. But I had all the traits, you know what I mean? And I did not realize I had those traits. You know
Yeah.
I did not realize I had those traits.
I've shoved away so many people with my PTSD, and, you know, like, I don't know about you, but there's courses that the VA offers, like dialectical behavioral therapy saved my life.
Right.
Because it taught me that I can have control of my emotions.
Right.
I don't have to wait for the depression to lift. I can actually do some things that will actually lift the depression. Who'd have thunk it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I said, nobody wants to admit they have PTSD. Nobody wants to admit, especially in the military, because you think it's going to stop your growth as far as getting promoted. And I definitely felt that. So when I got out, even if I felt that or while I was in, I never would mention it, even though I've seen some traumatic things happen while I was in the Marine Corps. I never thought it affected my life enough to make me say I had PTSD, nor did I want to be judged for having PTSD. I'm different now. I'm more open, and I want to share my experiences with other people so they can open up and get the help that they need, so they don't go out and hurt themselves or hurt other people.
That's wonderful. Well, you're out there making a difference. So,
Right.
And we have that opportunity every time we look somebody in the eyes at the bus stop or at the grocery store. We have the opportunity to connect and change their life with a smile, with something we say, and when we can get people who have been alienated from life because of PTSD to open up, that's miracle work.
Yes. But that's why I post things about PTSD all the time on Facebook and Instagram, because I don't want people to judge veterans because they have PTSD. They're not crazy.
No.
They've been through some things, All of us are broken a little bit, but some of us are very broken.
Yes.
But there's not a person in this world that's not broken.
That's right.
And that's what we deal with in comedy. We deal with things that are broke, but not broken. I never talk about subject matter that's broken. I talk about things that are broke that we can laugh about, but I don't talk about things that are broke, like people that are broke, physically or mentally. I don't do that. So I think it's important that we, as comedians and as veterans, to be able to take those experiences and put them together and help our brothers and sisters, so they can deal with life. And if the more we can educate people, the better our people will be. Because they're not judging. Oh, he's crazy. He was in Vietnam, or he's crazy. He was in Afghanistan. Now he's not crazy because he's crazy. He's crazy because you don't understand him. He's not crazy.
Exactly.
He has mental issues that need to be dealt with, that he needs professionals to help them with. So that's what I see now.
I get tired about the stigma around mental issues and the stigma around veterans that could go postal or whatever. It's like, stop it. You're just helping people to shove it down further.
And that's what we just said. Is identifying people that have a problem and supporting them and not alienating them and making them feel like less than a person, because that's what drives people over the edge. When they feel they have no help, they have nobody to turn to, nobody to talk to, and there's nobody there to listen. And you don't understand what I'm going through. So therefore, they lash out, they're angry, and they don't get the help. If we can educate,
Yes.
you can educate, if somebody can educate, we can definitely make a difference. We can stop and slow down the 22 veterans that are killing themselves every day. We can stop that. We can absolutely stop that.
That's right. All the stupid things people do in a day while people are killing themselves, like I'd like to ignite a firestorm where people get out there and try to actually cause healing of other people.
Yes, but it takes somebody, people like us to keep going. No matter what everybody else is doing, we got to just keep pushing. And if we can touch one person and they can touch a person, that's all it's about. Touch one, change one. Whatever you can do, whatever you do on your side, just do that. You don't have to change the world, but if you can change the world by touching the right people. So I think we on something good, man. Trust me, we on something very good here.
Yeah. I've been as an individual, I've been trying to get into VAs. In New York, I got in Oregon and Washington, I got in. And here in Vegas, it's pretty red tape oriented. And so, that gets frustrating. But there are organizations that one can join if you are interested in entertaining the troops. And once an organization has infiltrated into this VA system, it makes it easy for you to get in.
Yeah. Wounded Warriors, Walking Point, there's a bunch of that have direct connections with the VA hospitals. And if you get in with them, they would absolutely get you inside.
Yes. Perfect. Well, is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't covered?
I just looking forward to getting back on stage. I'm looking forward to getting up to Vegas and hanging out with you.
Yes.
Yeah, just follow me if you can. I'm gonna start posting some of my shorter sets on Instagram and on Facebook. You can follow me at the Murrieta Comedy on Instagram, the Murrieta Comedy on Twitter, the Murrieta Comedy on Facebook. That's me, Kevin Davis. Again, if you see something that we're doing that you want to get involved in, feel free. Any help is good help. And I will be out this year. I'm telling you, I will be touring the hospitals, and we're going to make a difference. And that's all I really want to share.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the interview and the time, Kevin. I love you to pieces. Always have.
Okay, then I'll be in Vegas soon. I'll be in touch, and I'll be up there as soon as this thing's over.
Oh.
Miami, Vegas is going down. You know what I mean?
Wonderful. I know Steve McAnally loves you, so I can't wait to see you back here.
Yeah, Steve is great people, man. We got some good people in our circle.
Yeah.
Good people, great comedy people that are genuine and true to the game, and they're very supportive. And Steve is definitely right at the top of that list.
Yes, he's amazing. Well, thank you again.
Right.
See you later when you get here. Bye. Love you.
I see you later. Love you too.
Okay, bye.